I stared blankly at my reflection in the mirror. Beautiful, alluring, like a Barbie doll. But that wasn't me.
Congratulations, my little doll, on being discharged from the hospital.
He is Yira, my fiancé, the one who pulled me out of my boring nurse life and designed a new, more perfect life for me according to his arrangement.
Brianna, what are you wearing?
Yira, it hurts.
From now on, get rid of these old-fashioned clothes.
I stared at Yira in shock as he coldly tore my clothes apart, ignoring my cries of pain. Under Yira's frenzied destruction, my dress was reduced to a skimpy outfit.
I spent a lot of money to give you a perfect body. Show it off. Let everyone admire it.
Pleased with his masterpiece, Yira smiled, snapped a selfie, ignoring my discomfort at the suggestive angle. I clutched the bouquet, desperately trying to cover my exposed chest. Once he got a picture he was satisfied with, Yira tossed a bag of clothes at me and ordered me to change immediately. His sudden shift in demeanor sent a wave of unease through me. As expected, Yira didn't take me home. Instead, he brought me to a shady-looking club. Yira, I don't feel comfortable. Can we go home first?
Don't worry. You even realize how valuable your appearance is here?
The door swung open. Music blared through the sweltering air, thick with the scent of flesh. Behind ornate masks, countless eyes devoured me, stripping away fabric, seeing only merchandise. Fear gripped me as I clutched my cloak tightly, looking at Yira with pleading eyes. But he ignored me, dragging me straight to the stage. Then, my worst fear came true. Yira yanked off my cloak, exposing the sheer leather dress beneath.
Here she is, Brianna, my proud little living doll. Look, Brianna, the men are going crazy for you.
No, they weren't obsessed with me. They were violating me with their ravenous stares. Disgust tightened my body as I clung to Yira, my only anchor. Yira, please take me away. Yira simply said,
Just stay here for a while.
Before casually walking off the stage. I had been abandoned. At that moment, a female dancer approached me, her eyes filled with sympathy.
Don't bother begging that demon for help. Do you really think that just because he gave you a lavish life, you've become some noble lady?
I looked at Yira, impeccably dressed, a stark contrast to the vulgar women clinging to him and to me, nearly naked under the lights.
His ex-wife and now you. You're nothing but another one of his living dolls.
After that insane party, Yira and I went home together. But the dancer's words kept echoing in my mind. Tonight, I had to uncover the truth. I took Yira's phone into the bathroom. With a little trick, I managed to find his fingerprints smudged on the screen. After several attempts, I finally unlocked his phone. My heart pounded as I opened his photo gallery, digging through every hidden folder. Yira had always told me he hated his ex-wife, yet his phone was filled with intimate pictures of the two of them. And disturbingly, the more I scrolled, the more I realized I was starting to look exactly like her. I met Yira right after his wife left him, when he was on the verge of death from alcohol poisoning. I gave him warmth, comfort. He pulled me out of my dull existence as a mere nurse. I once thought we were each other's light, each other's salvation. What a joke. The truth had been laid bare. I refused to be Yira's lifeless doll any longer. It was time for me to take control of the game. From the moment we met, Yira had never touched me, not even once. So tonight, with a dose of aphrodisiac, I would turn him into my toy.
Brianna, what are you doing? What did you just inject into me?
Oh, my love. Ever since we've been together, you've never touched me. Do you really feel nothing for me?
No, I love you, but I've been hiding my bipolar disorder, so please, understand and don't do anything reckless.
I'm a nurse, Yira. Of course, I've seen your medical records. That's why I used just the right dose. Let me help you. Suddenly, Yira let out a scream of pain, making me flinch.
Damn it, get your hands off me!
I froze, my hands trembling as I felt something soft and lifeless beneath my touch. A chill ran down my spine. I sat up abruptly, staring at Yira in disbelief.
You wretched woman! You're just a toy in my hands! How dare you touch me without permission! Let me go or I'll kill you!
There was no pleasure in his expression, only pain and seething rage. And then, a horrifying thought struck me. Yira, your body already been destroyed by psychiatric meds and alcohol, hasn't it? You've lost your ability, haven't you? That's why you degrade your women, turn them into dolls, because that's the only way you can satisfy your pathetic excuse for masculinity.
Shut up! I'll freaking kill you!
I couldn't contain my fury any longer. I lunged at Yira, clawing at him, the man who had no strength left to fight back, writhing helplessly under the drug's torment. Suddenly, his body convulsed, his breath ragged, a heart attack. He trembled violently, then went still. And just like that, I was alone in the wreckage, consumed by the madness of destroying my monster.
You're great, but I don't date women over 25. Sorry, sweetie.
When the news broke about Rio's breakup with his 25-year-old model girlfriend, I didn't think much of it. It was just another headline in the endless cycle of celebrity drama. But now here I am, sitting beside him at a bar that smells like expensive perfume and ambition, his eyes locked on me like I'm the most fascinating thing he's seen all night.
Oh, so tomorrow's your birthday?
He says, his voice smooth as silk.
25, huh? Tonight's your last night at 24. Let's make it unforgettable.
I'm not the kind of girl who belongs in places like this. My friend dragged me along as a +1, and I've spent most of the evening feeling out of place in my borrowed dress. But here's Rio, an S-tier celebrity, his smile dazzling under the lowlights, choosing me. When he invites me back to his suite, I don't even hesitate. The room is breathtaking, a palace of glass and gold perched high above the city. Rio pours us champagne, and the tension between us crackles. Everything about him seems surreal. His perfect hair, his gleaming smile, the way he moves like he owns not just the room, but the world. That's when I noticed it. A strand of his hair fell loose as he ran a hand through it. But instead of landing softly on his shoulder or the floor, the strand shimmered, then hardened into pure gold. My breath caught.
You're staring,
He teased, leaning closer.
It's a little gift of mine.
Your hair,
Pure gold.
he interrupted, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I laughed nervously, but the strangeness only deepened. He reached for a nail clipper, trimming one of his manicured nails. The clipping hit the glass coffee table with a metallic plink. A sliver of solid gold. I froze.
Oh, that's not all.
He said, grinning like a magician about to reveal his next trick. He tilted his head back and casually flicked his nose. He placed the shimmering pearl into my hand. Is this real? I stammered, barely able to process what I was seeing.
Real as you and me.
He replied, leaning back into the plush sofa.
And if you make me happy tonight, all of it is yours. Every strand, every clipping, every pearl.
As the night went on, gold and jewels seemed to pour out of him. Quite literally. Every touch, every kiss, every moment sent shimmering treasures scattering across the room. By midnight, the floor was littered with riches. And then it happened. Rio stumbled, catching himself on the edge of a table. A sharp gasp escaped his lips as a golden gash split across his palm. But instead of blood, molten gold began to drip from the wound, pooling onto the carpet. Oh my God, I breathed, rushing to him.
It's fine. Just grab a cloth or something.
I pressed a towel to his hand, my heart pounding. The golden liquid was warm, almost alive as it seeped through the fabric. His breathing was shallow, his skin pale, but still he smiled at me. For a brief moment, I felt a strange pang of sympathy. By the time we collapsed into bed, I fall asleep in his arms, the strange warmth of his body lulling me into a dreamless void. Morning came too soon. I woke to the soft hum of city traffic and the blinding sunlight streaming through the massive windows. Rio was already dressed, standing at the edge of the bed.
Happy birthday.
He said, his smile as dazzling as ever. Thank you, but his next words turned that warmth to ice.
This has been fun, but I don't date women over 25.
What?
You're great, really, but I have standards.
Anger bubbled in my chest. After everything, after last night, this was how he saw me. Just another disposable toy.
You can take all the gold and pearls.
He added, gesturing to the glittering mess on the floor.
Consider it your parting gift.
I stared at him, my mind racing. He was so smug, so sure of himself, so untouchable. My eyes landed on the corkscrew on the bedside table. Without thinking, I grabbed it and lunged. The moment the corkscrew pierced his stomach, his eyes widened in shock. But instead of blood, a torrent of gold and jewels erupted from the wound, spraying across the room like a macabre fountain. He collapsed to the floor, gasping, as the treasures kept pouring out. He falls to his knees, his hands grasping at the wound as more and more spills out. His skin cracks like porcelain, and molten gold begins to seep through the fissures.
You fool.
He gasps, his voice gurgling. I stumble back, horrified. The golden river slows, then stops, leaving Rio motionless on the floor. For one fleeting moment, I wonder if I should take the gold and run. But then the gold began to change. The shimmering strands darkened, the pearls cracking and oozing. The smell hit me first, metallic and sharp, like rust and decay. No, I whispered, stumbling back. The gold liquefied, pooling into dark red puddles. The pearls dissolved into chunks of raw, congealed flesh. The room reeked of blood, hot, sticky and overwhelming. I turned to Rio, but he was no longer the godlike figure from last night. His body was collapsing in on itself, his golden sheen fading into a grotesque mess of sinew and viscera. My hands and clothes were stained with his blood. Real blood now, not gold. The riches he had promised me had turned into a nightmare.
When I matched with Shelby, I thought I'd found someone truly special. We met on a Bumby dating app, just your typical swipe right kind of place. Nothing about her profile screamed bug lover, which was a relief. See, I've always had a deep, gut-level fear of insects. Instant panic. Shelby seemed perfect, and after a week of talking, I was hooked. So, when she suggested we meet in person, I pushed my fear aside and said yes. It was just one irrational phobia after all. What could possibly go wrong? On our first date, Shelby brought along a companion. A Madagascar hissing cockroach that she introduced with a gentle smile. She stroked its shiny black-brown shell as though it were a kitten.
This is Manny,
she said, extending the roach towards me. I smiled, swallowing my surprise. A roach as a pet felt a little unconventional, but I couldn't deny her passion. She was different, unique, and I was intrigued.
I like roaches because when they crawl on my arms, they tickle me.
She murmured, running her fingers down Manny's back.
And when I hold them, they make me feel happy.
Her smile widened, and she tilted her head toward me.
Want to try holding him? You might find it addictive.
I tried not to let my discomfort show. Shelby was special, and if she found joy in these creatures, who was I to judge? Tentatively, I held out my hand, but before I could muster the courage, she retracted Manny with a knowing chuckle.
Maybe later.
She teased, her eyes sparkling. The evening flowed, and before I knew it, she was inviting me to her home. She said it was close by and, well, the night was young. I was curious, a little smitten, and before I could talk myself out of it, I agreed. Shelby's house was small and tucked away down a narrow, dark street. I followed her in, and the moment we stepped inside, I noticed something peculiar. At first, I couldn't tell what it was, but then I saw movement. A large shadow shifting near the floor. I blinked, thinking I must have imagined it.
Don't worry.
Shelby whispered, her voice soft and calm.
They're just a little excited. They've been waiting to meet you.
As my eyes adjusted, I saw them. Cockroaches. Massive cockroaches, each nearly 3 feet tall, skittering across the floor. Some even stood on their hind legs, chittering in a way that sounded almost like laughter. Shelby walked forward and petted one of them like it was her pet dog. It shuddered under her touch, its body quivering in what looked disturbingly like affection.
Say hello to my family.
She said, looking over her shoulder at me, her eyes gleaming. Family? I stammered, inching back as one of the cockroaches leaned toward me, its antennae twitching. The sight of its segmented body, its cold, gleaming eyes, sent a chill down my spine. I fought the urge to flee. Shelby reached out, taking my hand. Her grip was surprisingly strong.
Come on, they're friendly,
she said, her tone soothing yet oddly commanding. She guided me into her bedroom, where the scene only grew more grotesque. Her bed was covered in them, hundreds of cockroaches of all sizes, crawling over each other in a sea of writhing bodies. With a contented sigh, Shelby lay down on the bed, letting them swarm over her, their legs and antennae moving in a strange rhythm as if massaging her. She looked at me with a smile of pure satisfaction, patting the bed beside her.
Lie down with me,
she urged.
You'll feel them relax you. It's like a massage.
I wanted to leave. Every nerve in my body screamed at me to run, but her eyes held me captive, and something about her confidence, her sheer conviction, made me feel almost compelled to stay. Trembling, I lowered myself onto the bed, and the instant I touched it, the cockroaches began crawling up my arms and legs, their tiny legs prickling my skin. I clenched my jaw, trying to hold still. Shelby took my hand, her touch warm and reassuring.
Just relax,
she whispered. I took a shaky breath, attempting to let go of my revulsion, but just then, a cockroach launched itself from her shoulder, straight at my face. When I came to, I was no longer lying down. My arms were stretched above my head, bound tightly to the wall, my feet dangling off the floor. I tried to scream, but a sticky substance covered my mouth, muting my voice. Shelby stood across from me, clapping her hands in delight.
Oh, you're awake! Welcome to Shelby's amazing cockroach show.
My mind reeled as she put the helmet into the roaches, then grinned like a showman ready to begin an act.
For our first trick,
she announced,
we're going to launch Manny here through a hoop of fire, right onto our star. Ron!
No! I tried to scream, but it came out as a muffled grunt. I watched in horror as she placed Manny, the giant cockroach, into the cannon, lit a small flame in front of it, and with a loud boom, Manny shot through the air, passing through the ring of fire and landing on my face. Its legs scratched my skin as it clung to me, its cold, slimy body pressing against me. Shelby laughed, a wild, gleeful sound.
Let's see how many more we can fit.
One by one, she loaded cockroach after cockroach into the cannon, firing them at me with sadistic glee. They stuck to me, their bodies writhing and squirming, covering me from head to toe in a living, churning mass of shells and legs. I felt something sharp, a bite, followed by another. A strange warmth began spreading through me, a sickening, feverish heat that made my skin crawl even beneath the roaches. My vision blurred as Shelby's laughter filled the room, and a voice echoed in my head, repeating her words from earlier.
Welcome to my family.